Okay, class, we're going to continue the material that we learned yesterday. Today's lesson only adds a step, but doesn't increase its complexity. Yesterday, you remember, we were given a problem in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. It was easy in that form to see what the y-intercept was and to see what the slope was and then to graph it. Today, we are given the problem in standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. So the only new thing that we're having to do is rearrange the problem until it gets into y equals mx plus b so that we can graph it easily. So our goal is to get the y on its own. Here's y. First we get rid of the 2x. Minus 2x, minus 2x. The 2x's are gone. We're left with 5. Y is less than or equal to. There's a 10 and a 2x. The variable number cannot be added with a regular number, so they don't join. So we just write them separately, minus 2x and a plus 10. You could have put 10 minus 2x, but typically the equation's written mx plus b, so I put the mx first and the regular number at the end. I now have only one more step to get the y on its own. This 5 is in the way. Right now the 5 is multiplying times the y. When a number is next to a letter, it means multiply. So to get rid of multiplying, I divide by 5, divide by 5. You have to divide the whole side by 5. The 5's cancel. Since I divided by a 5, I do not flip the inequality, so it's still y is less than or equal to. If it had been a negative 5, that's when I would have flipped it. 2 does not divide by 5 evenly, so we just leave it. Negative 2 over 5x. 10 does divide by 5 evenly, so that's plus 2. So now we identify our y-intercept is 2. Put a dot in your y-axis. The slope is negative 2 over 5, so that's down 2 over 5. Down 2 over 5. And then we identify, based on the inequality, if it's a solid line, yes, it's or equal to, so that means it's solid. And it says y is less than. The small side is touching the y. Y is less than, so that means we're going to shade below. So it's a solid line, and it's going to be shading everything below. Alright, at this point, why don't you go ahead and pause the video and try example 2. Once you think you have it, push play and see if you got it right. Okay, we still want it in y equals mx plus b form, so we need to get rid of the 5x. To get rid of the 5x, we go minus 5x, minus 5x. The 5x is gone. We're left with negative y is less than. The regular number and the variable number cannot be joined, so we just leave them the way they are, plus 7. Now I need to get rid of that negative. You can either think of it just as a negative or as a negative 1. So I'm going to divide by negative 1, divide the entire other side by negative 1. The negative 1's are gone. I'm left with y. Since I divided by a negative number, my inequality has to flip. And now negative 5 divided by negative 1. Two negatives make a positive, so I'm going to leave it as 5 over 1x. It could have just been 5, but since it's slope, I go ahead and leave the 1 underneath it. Positive 7 divided by negative 1. 7 divided by negative leaves us with negative 7. If you prefer, instead of plus negative, it can just be minus 7. Either way. Now we identify our y-intercept is negative 7. I put a dot at negative 7. My slope is 5 over 1, so I go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, 1. Up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. And now I identify based on the inequality. It does not have an equal to underneath it, so it's going to be a dashed line or dotted. And since it's y is greater than, the big side's touching the y is greater than, we're going to shade above. So it's a dashed line, and we're going to shade above. Those of you that are having trouble identifying what's the above part of the line, a way you can think about it is, if you could draw a stick figure who was standing on the line, then he's above the line. He couldn't stand on it down here, so he would fall. So whichever side a little stick figure could stand on, that's the side that is above. Alright, so anyhow, we're shading above, so that's this side of the line. There we have it. Alright, at this point you're going to start work on the sheet that has these problems. This is part of your daily work. Good luck.